Hello there. This is a short presentation of some of my cases. The cases that have been beautifully improved by homeopathy. And the case speaks for itself that how much the patient was benefited. My homeopathy is simple. My homeopathy is classical. I combine miasm with the totality. My approach is MTech. On the one hand, the miasm. I diagnose miasm in each and every case. I combine that with totality, essence and keynotes of the case. I give a lot of emphasis on how the patient talks, how the patient speaks, how the patient behaves. So behavior, the gesture, posture, I combine that in the totality and combine with the knowledge of the miasm, make the final prescription. I rarely use repertory. So Metromedica and understanding of the Metromedica is my strong area, and I am a humble servant in this vast ocean of Metromedica and this wonderful science of homeopathy. And still, I am trying hard to make one single prescription, and that day I'll be really satisfied when the patient don't have to come back to repeat the prescription. And that's my aim. So here is a few cases for you. This is a case of psoriasis. And you could see the extensive lesion in this case. See the back of the person, the dry, harsh appearance. Patient was suffering for over 20 years, and you could see the fish scale eruption, which is very interesting. The extensive skin lesion, fish scale eruption of psychosis, and roughness of psora is manifested in this case. Here we have the conventional prescriptions. The patient have been treated by leading dermatologists of the country without any appreciable change. So I have taken those reports to show you that he was treated with conventional doctors without any appreciable change. The first thing happened after my treatment is the detoxification. The entire layer of the skin came out and the patient is holding that. Here my emphasis is not to share the medicine, just the medicine, which I have discussed in my miasm book, and I am presenting another book, my cases, where it will be discussed very thoroughly. But here I like to share with you the beauty of homeopathy, and the glory goes to Hahnemann and his beautiful homeopathy. Here, this is interesting aspect. Look at the circular appearance, which still relates that psychotic miasm is in the background. The patient was improved with Thuya, and Thuya is a psychotic. So you stay with Thuya still right from the beginning. Here, this is another indication of understanding miasm, as circular lesions are psychotic. So I'm staying with psychotic miasm, psychotic medicine, Thuya. 20 years old skin lesions are improving nicely, and the improvement is happening above downwards, and that's very important following Hering's law. Look at this picture. Once again, it's clearing up from above downwards. I would like to share with you an interesting aspect in this case, the greasy face, and which was one of my diagnostic aspect to understand Thuya. Improving above downwards, you could see almost up to the knee everything is clear, and that's interesting in this case. Following exactly Hering's law of improvement, a 20 years old psoriasis. 16 months after homeopathic treatment, 20 years old psoriasis is almost gone, about 10-15% left. You see there is a big patch in the back. After a few pictures, that patch has gradually reduced. Here almost all the lesions of psoriasis have cleared. Skin has got back the lost gloss and complexion even. And that's the beauty of homeopathy. Steadily and nicely improved. The texture and the gloss of the skin has come back. And almost all the eruptions have cleared up. Now you could see it is almost below the knee, and that's interesting. You could see now that back patch has cleared, and that's the way the patient gradually gets better. And the last thing to happen, the entire layer of the skin again came out, and this is now this time from the shin area. Patient have had lots of conventional medicine, so it's the clearing up of those conventional chemicals and gradually sloughing off of the skin. Not a single eruption in the whole body. And that's not a single spot in the body, and that's the case. I've given Thuya in this case. That totality obviously was there for Thuya, One of the interesting aspects of the case, I will just give a clue, that never a single spot appeared in the uncovered area. And there was one spot appear around the wrist. Patient put a gloves to cover that. So this eruption in the covered area is very, very important. Then the patient had some eruptions in the dorsum of the hand. So eruption on the covered area, greasy face was an interesting clue. And obviously I have given a lot of emphasis on the psychotic background, the fish scale eruption, the roughness, and that combination of miasm and the totality. Glory goes to Hahnemann and his homeopathy. Thank you. Dear friends, this is another interesting case of skin. It's a young boy of approximately 5.5, 6 years suffering with atopic dermatitis from the age of 6 months of his age. Look at the face of this boy. Totally frustrated. Have had lots of conventional treatment. Nothing gave any permanent result. In the forehead, it is gradually receding. Look at the receding hair in the forehead because it is spreading. And that's at the starting point of my treatment. You could see this is the appearance before homeopathic treatment. And it was full in the face, especially in the forehead. And it was diagnosed by the dermatologist as an atopic dermatitis. You see, when the patient was stretching the face, the skin was so thin, there was pus oozing. And the boy was totally frustrated by this. And this is interesting. You could see that there are a few spots here and there, few in the elbows, but mostly in the face. And that's the before treatment. And a frustrated, disappointed boy suffering from his age of 6 months. From extensive eruption, receding hairline. Child suffering from 6 months of his age and no relief so far. You see, some of the glands are infected because of the pus. There was no eruptions in the back. That was interesting. I want you to understand here the frustration and the receding hairline. This is only 5 months after treatment. Your homeopathy gave smile back. Here, my friend, the medicine is not the most important aspect I like to discuss here. But what I like to discuss here, homeopathy can do it. And you don't need a complicated homeopathy. You need a very simple homeopathy. And here, one of the major reasons of the prescription, I prescribe Croton Tig in this case. And one of the major reasons of Croton Tig prescription was eruption with itching, better by gentle rubbing. That was one of my clue word, and on which I prescribed Croton Tig 30. And the boy has improved wonderfully well. And you see, all the eruptions cleared, right medicine, right dose, magic of homeopathy. And glory goes to Hahnemann and his beautiful homeopathy. Look at the face, the smile came back, the child is happy, no eruption in the back. Homeopathy gave back the smile which he deserves. I followed the case through for a few months, no eruption came back. That's beautiful smile which is so important in that boy, which he well deserves. And that is there. I followed through the winter, not a single eruption come back. So what I like to share here, do not make it complicated. Look at the symptom. If there is a preponderance of physical symptom, prescribe on it, but don't ignore the mental. But if there is a preponderance of mental, prescribe on the mental, do not ignore the physical. Combination of that is the totality. Attached to that is the gesture, posture, and that's a simple homeopathy. If Hahnemann could do it, many have done it. If I can do it, you can do it. And that simple homeopathy I like to share. Thank you. Another interesting case. Here, I like to share with you, look at the person, try to understand his feelings, what the patient is saying, consider that, manifest that in your prescription. Simple homeopathy. And that's the homeopathy you need. In India, in Calcutta, what we prescribe for heavy pathology. Many times the patient cannot give us mental symptoms. Many times here in this part of the country, patient cannot give us dreams and delusions. We prescribe what we see, and that gives wonderful result. Look at this case of diabetes. It's a case of diabetes before treatment. Look at the face. Indifferent, dissatisfied, discontented aspect. And I just like to share this in the background. Patient lost his only son 4 years back. Approximately 6-8 months later, patient was diagnosed as diabetes. This is a clue. Keep that in your mind. Patient lost his only son. 6-8 months later, patient was diagnosed as a case of diabetes. Now look at this pictorial presentation. The before treatment, unshaved, uncared appearance. These are a few medical reports. If you go in my website, you will find, you can enlarge these medical reports and have a look. And I have individual reports later on as well, which I will share with you. This is, once again, the patient was really frustrated that he have had conventional treatment without any appreciable change, came to me if we can do anything in diabetes. In the Western world, we generally do not take diabetes because there are a lot of restrictions, whereas in India, we do treat diabetes, and homeopathy can help in some cases, but obviously we cannot say that in all cases we can help. It depends on the symptom and how well they are presented. You see, this is the medical reports, comes from allopathic practitioner before homeopathy, and the patient have had taken that and without any appreciable change, so patient got frustrated. Allopathic prescriptions before homeopathy. And this is the medical report. The blood sugar level was 228. The normal range is 80 to 120. So 228 is quite elevated, milligram per 100 milliliter. And at that point, he decided to go for homeopathy and came to me. This is my last picture taken before treatment. At the point, he came to me, and that's important. Dear friends, disappointed and listless appearance, apathetic and withdrawn, and that's the aspect I like to give emphasis. Look at the patient's face, apathetic and withdrawn. In the past history, grief, disappointment. I prescribed phosphoric acid. I'm sure you like to know the medicine. I prescribed phosphoric acid, and see the dramatic change of this patient. That indifferent face was there, and now the blood sugar level has come down to 171 after the prescription. So it started coming down and the face has changed. Look, hooray, the blood sugar normal. So is the patient, homeopathy has given back the smile. I will show you the blood sugar report, and that's 95, which is the normal blood sugar. It came down in a very short time of phosphoric acid prescription, and that's the patient is absolutely normal. Glory goes to Hanuman and his beautiful homeopathy. Once again, what I like to share, my friends, simple homeopathy. Take the totality, Masam totality essence, and that's combination of this makes a simple prescription. It's not difficult. If many people can do it, you can do it. And I like to give that courage. I like to share that courage, and that's the glory and beauty of homeopathy. Long live Hanuman, long live homeopathy. Thank you.